We're discussing this Gemara in Yuma. It says, "Rishonim shenisgalo avonu nisgalo ketzam, achronim shelo nisgalo avonu nisgalo ketzam." The Beis Hamikdash Rishon, their transgression, right, which was on the outside, right. Someone asked, how can it be if they're killing people and they're bowing down to idols and they have immoral actions that they have emunah, right? So the Gemara asked this question, right? Who was it? Menashe, right? So they were being darish against Menashe, and Menashe said, if you were here, you would pick up your coattails and run. The Yetzer Hara was so strong, right? They just couldn't fight it. They had emunah Hashem, but it was like a Nesoyan Sheni Yochel Lamed Bo, right? Okay, there is no such thing. Every single Nesoyan a person can own him, but it was so hard that they were overcome by their taivas, right? But they had emunah, right? The later Doros, the Yetzer Hara for Avodah Zarah was eventually destroyed. But the later Doros were learning Torah, they were doing Chesed, but they didn't have Bitachon in Hashem, right? And that's why the Sinat Chinam is coming from, right? A person has true Bitachon realized nobody ever does anything bad to you at all, right? If you get on the bus and the bus driver closes the door on your foot, it happened to you once, right? It's not the bus driver. This is what it had to happen to you, right? So there's no point getting upset at the bus driver. It won't work. You have to stay there for more time, right? So Lamai said that we have to get this clear. Now I want to share with you a pshat, which this Shabbos I walked back and forth to the Kosel, so I had a lot of time to think about life, the universe, and other things. And Lamaisa, I realized there's a number of beautiful pshatim in this Gemara, right? We said one from the Gra now. We've said one previously from the Gra, right? That it was all a question of bitachon. Was the aver b'pnimius or was chitzonis? The Gra says when the aver was lo nisgala, it was pnimius, right? So then we don't know the end. When the aver is b'chitzonius, then we knew the end. That's what the Gra says. Remember, in Ibn says another pshat. Yaretz Tavash. He says that people didn't even know about it. And I think that's so true today. If you ask somebody, if someone comes up to your street and starts screaming at you, right? Can you scream back at them? You know? Or should you be upset with them? You don't have to scream back at them, probably not. But upset, of course I could be upset. Why not? People don't even know what Sinat Chinam is, right? The Svarim say anything which is not hating a Rasha is Sinat Chinam. The only Sinat you're allowed to have is a Sinat which Al Pi Allah is justified, which is a Rasha, right? Says the Chazon Ish, no, even before the Chazon Ish is quoting Rav Yonasan Moliner, right? There's a sefer at the back of Avos Chesed from Rav Yonasan Moliner, right? What's it called? Margolius Hayamet? What? Marganisa Tova, right? Marganisa Tova. And he writes there's no mitzvah of Sinas Rishoyim today, right? Okay, Rav Sternbach will tell you maybe there's one person we can't hate. I'll tell you, turn off the camera, everyone knows who it is. There's no mitzvah of Sinas Rishoyim today because everybody's calling tochacha, right? No one knows how to give tochacha. It brings the Gemara here, and no one knows how to give tochacha today, right? So in Mela, everyone's calling tochacha, so there's no real Russia today. So there's no Sinas Rishoyim. The Chazon Ish paskin this halacha l'maisa. Paskin halacha l'maisa. Right? So you're not allowed to. There's no mitzvah of Sinus Rishoyim, and certainly somebody who does something to you, people don't realize it's an aver, and that's what Rav Yonasan Ibn says, right? That people don't know. They don't know. They don't know they have it in themselves. They don't know what it is, right? But I want to suggest another mahalach in this Gemara, which it doesn't fit into the words as well as the Gra and Yonasan Ibn. I don't put myself in that tent, but I think it's emes, afal pikein. I think it's emes, and the pshat is like this. I believe that you could learn the Gemara like this: that nisgala avoinam is a beer in the mahus of the avera. There's averas in a generation where it's nisgala avonam, and there's averas in a generation where it's no nisgala avonam, and I'll explain. Right? When Klal Yisrael, the Chazon Ish says, when Klal Yisrael, there's really no apikoros unless the Beis Hamikdash. When Klal Yisrael has the Shechina amongst them, right? Anyone who had a suffix in Amunah in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, you would go there and you wouldn't have a suffix in Amunah anymore. Right? They took a bird's intestines, they threw it on the floor and it disappears. Now you go ask a scientist, right? If you go into this building, right, over there in the old city, and I take some bird intestines and I throw it on the floor and it disappears, does that scientifically work? Rabbi Zema, what do you say? Does it make sense? No scientist can explain this. There must be a God in this world, right? I mean, it happened to me once when I was run over by a car and pronounced dead. So the doctor, I got to the hospital, and the doctor told my wife, your husband will either be a vegetable or die, right? Because he took a 3-meter head-first dive onto concrete. It's not possible to survive or to be normal after such a thing. Okay, different people have different opinions about that. But after he did a CAT scan and there was no problem at all, he said, this is not medically possible, right? The only way to explain this is a miracle. I don't believe in God. Sorchian. Okay. Because there's still Bechira. There's still free choice. In the Beis HaMikdash, there's no free choice, right? Nobody can explain, yeah? You get the biggest scientist in the world going into the Beis HaMikdash, and they were allowed in, to a certain extent, or even the non-Jews. You go in, there's no room anymore, right? The winds are blowing 100 miles an hour, right? The insurance companies call that an act of God, right? If during a hurricane, the winds are over 100 miles an hour, that's an act of God. You don't get recompensated for that. But when I saw, right, they didn't move. The fire didn't move. It went straight. There were open miracles happening there. That's called nisgala avoinam. Yeah, when there's a matzav of amuna in Klal Yisrael, so it's clear that a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? It's an matzav of nisgala. There's an avona which is an matzav of nisgala. It's a situation in Klal Yisrael where Hashem is nisgala, and that's a nisgala avonam. There's an avon when Hashem is in a matzav nisgala, and there's no nisgala avonam. There's an avon when Klal Yisrael is in a matzav where Kadosh Baruch Hu is not nisgala. So the mahus of the aver, the aver is when Hashem is revealed and when Hashem is not revealed. When Hashem is revealed, yeah, so it's just a question of coming back to that recognition and doing tshuva. But when Hashem is not revealed, it's much harder to do tshuva. Yeah, because you don't realize that you're doing something wrong, and you don't realize Hashem. And it's a lot harder to come back and do tshuva, because, again, like we said, the Sinat is Chinam. When you realize that Kadosh Baruch Hu, everything is happening from Kadosh Baruch Hu, when you live your life with Hashem, when everything is Hashem, right? Like Rav Yitzchak Berkowitz says about his grandmother, everything she did, she said a tefillah beforehand, right? They put a cake in the oven, when you live your life of Nizgala Avonam. When the Kadosh Baruch Hu is Nizgala in the world, then Nizgala Avonam. Yeah? It's Nizgala Avonam. When the Kadosh Baruch Hu is hidden, it's not Nizgala Avonam. We'll speak more about this. Amen. Kein Ratzah. Yeah, go ahead.